Mets are in Toronto, so they won 9 in a row, and then lost yesterday. And then they're tied for the third spot. So you could be a glass half full guy, glass half empty guy. You're not going to reel off 9 in a row again. And what they did was they made up the deficit, but still they have a ways to go to clinch a wild card spot. And even though one loss was somewhat costly because they would have been alone in the third wild card spot, Don.
Yeah, but you can't win every game.
I know.
And you want to win a series. And they won a series. And unfortunately, yesterday they wasted a great performance by Severino. And Dave and Rick were talking about this earlier today. And I think it's fair. The last few times we've seen Diaz come in has been in non-save situations. So the night before, the Mets win 4-0. And again, both wins against Cincinnati could have gone either way. But they find a way to win. 80 straight innings with a lead. It was just an incredible run that they had. But by Diaz not being able to pitch yesterday, I think if they didn't use him in the non-save situation, then he probably comes in the ninth inning in a 1-1 tie, and maybe you've got a chance to be able to keep it at 1-1 going to the bottom of the ninth inning. So it was kind of curious. I'm not going to kill him because the bullpen has been terrific, but I thought it's kind of curious that they seem to go to Diaz in these non-save situations, and that could, even though it would have been a non-save situation yesterday, I think it could have been an opportunity for them to use him in the 1-1 tie. Now, what quietly's happened, though, Michael, is the Padres dropped 2 out of 3 in San Francisco. Now, Arizona beat up on Verlander last night, but they also have they've struggled lately. Yep. They're 4-6 in their last 10. So the Mets are in a flat-footed tie with Atlanta for the third wild card, but they're only 1 back in the loss column of both the Diamondbacks and the Padres. So that's good news for the Mets because there's 3 teams in play.
Right.
So even if they don't win every game, Michael, there's a chance Padres, Diamondbacks can lose. They're going to have to play each other later in the season. So by having all 3 teams being in striking distance, I think it makes them easier. Apparently, the percentage chances of making it are like 49%, so it's still under 50% for some reason. But I really like the position that the Mets are in right now.
Yankees called up Jason Dominguez after this weekend in Chicago. Brian Cashman said, we think our best chance to win is to play Verdugo. So Verdugo's in today. Stanton's out. Dominguez is in center field. So I guess it was Saturday's. It was Friday's game in in Chicago. That me and Flaherty. Well, why don't you listen?
You weren't very talkative on the bus this morning to the field, but as I was driving here, I was thinking it'd be great to get a place that's close. You can walk back and forth. I know you mentioned Don Zimmer living out the apartments out in center field, but I just had a lot of time to think on the team bus today because it was just very quiet.
So you'd rather me be chatty? I wasn't feeling great.
I haven't seen you in a long time, right? You don't work road trips anymore when I'm on the road, so I thought we would catch up, but it quickly was evident that you weren't in the mood, so I gathered my thoughts about how it would be nice to live close to Wrigley, walk back and forth to the park.
Interesting narrative that you're putting together. Because I've been told by executives that you prefer to work with Rucco. That's why you 2 guys are matched up all the time. That's just what I heard. I don't know if there's any truth to it.
I just put it together that the road trips you don't want to go on, that I end up working with Ryan Rucco because we're willing to work the games on the road.
Ground ball to short. Swanson. Listen, John, I don't pick out my schedule. I go where I'm told.
Hello? Is this on?
I'll be very chatty tomorrow.
No, I just want to make sure that you're okay.
All right, so that's the gist of it.
Oh, my God.
So
it is strange.
People ran with that we had a very uncomfortable altercation. I mean, people, awful announcing. The New York Post had a huge story. Unbelievable. Have you ever heard John and I do the games together? We kind of snark at each other. We're good friends. We like each other a lot. John was getting phone calls from people. What happened with you and Kay? Brian Cashman went up to Meredith Morakovitz the next day in the clubhouse and said, what's wrong with the 2 of them? Yesterday I was getting on the plane. Aaron Boone said, you and John okay? Yeah. I mean, it's called kidding around.
I got to be honest with you, Michael. You know I'm nothing but honest with you. it didn't. It was very uncomfortable. It was. I know you, so I kind of know your sensibility, but I totally get where people would misunderstand that because it did seem uncomfortable. And that long silence that I was kind of joking about at the time, I could understand people taking it that way.
Well, you know what? If they did, I'm sorry they took it that way. We are fine. We're friends. We laughed about it, and I was about as ill as I've ever been in Chicago. I had vertigo. I felt like I was walking on a boat. I was throwing up in the booth on Friday.
Oh, jeez. No. I didn't hear that part.
Oh, yeah. And
I heard the vertigo part.
The Cub doctor had to give me a neurological exam to see if I had a stroke. I mean, I couldn't walk.
Oh, my God.
So I was, I had no idea if I could do the game. I didn't even know how I was going to get dressed in the hotel. So that's why I was quiet on the bus. That's what led to John saying that. But he knew because he helped me onto the bus. I couldn't walk.
Wow. Do you have bouts of vertigo often?
I usually have them in bed, Peter. You know, like if I turn my head, like maybe once or every 3 years. But this is one where it's actually affecting me walking. And today's a lot better than it was the previous couple of days. But it is, anybody that's had vertigo, it is so scary. I don't wish it on my worst enemy. And there are a lot of people I hate. I wouldn't wish it on them.
Yeah, I think you'd wish it on some if we talked about it.
Maybe a couple. If we talked about it, yeah.
But no, I will say I texted Michael because I saw it moving around and said, was this a real thing? And he said, no, we were just having fun. And I believe it because I know your style. But I also would totally believe how people would think you hated each other's guts.
And also coming off the mode that you were in on Friday.
Was it Friday?
Or Thursday.
Thursday.
Well, that led to me having vertigo.